I'm working on my 2001 Chrysler Town & Country minivan. I've got a heater blower motor problem. I'm going to show you how I fix that. So first things first is I've got the battery disconnected. I guess there could be a possibility that because we're working near the airbag here on this passenger side, you could trigger it, and who knows what would happen. It probably wouldn't be anything good. Anyways, got a decent tool set here, and really I'm gonna kind of race through some of the easy stuff. If anything hard, I'll certainly take time on, but there are certainly some areas here where they just did not make it easy for us. First off, you got to get this carpet back to get up under here. Needless to say, everything's all opened up, but I'll kind of explain my way through it here. So you take this cover off, it comes right off. Pull this part back, okay, and that comes right off. No problem at all. Next, you've got to get this carpet back. There's just no way to do this job without that. Okay, so carpet's nicely up there. Pull that back, and then you got this insulation. Notice how thick this is. Because of the clearance back there, there's really no way you're going to be able to get to some of these screws. In fact, I'll show you real quick here why. This cover here covers the blower motor itself here. Okay, this is the old one. I've already taken it out. But in order to get this cover off, you've got to get to a screw hole. I'm going to orient it so that it's pretty much the way it was installed here. Pull it down. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to pull this up here and show you the 5th screw here. This is right up against the firewall. And it's very difficult to get to without, I tried it without taking the insulation out. And it didn't come out easy. It rips, but then you know what? You just put it right back later. You know, you just get some spray adhesive and it'll press right back and stay in place. That's not a big deal. Okay. But this screw hole, even though it's up against the firewall, you can kind of imagine that, you know, we don't have much clearance. It's, you know, it's just tricky in there. So you got to use a 10 or 1/4 inch socket drive here. Okay, so here's my socket wrench, and I've got an extension. Notice this extension, it's a bendable one. I got this at AutoZone, but everywhere, probably you can get it anywhere. Notice that. So when you're up in this tiny spot up in the back here, okay, that bendable, what little it bends, and I loosened it up. These screws were not tight at all, by the way. They're very easy to work with, but loosened it up with the socket wrench, and then I disconnected it. And I was able to spin it with my fingers part of the way, because it just wasn't easy to get that socket moving back and forth back there. So anyway, that's pretty much the basics. Okay, you have to disconnect this connector here in order to get some room to play here. And one of the first things you got to do about that is, you know, this connector and its wire come through this hole here. Okay, and that wasn't very easy. I'm not showing it in the camera here. So anyways, when it's connected, this rubber piece here, okay, is partly on this side of the outside of the covering here. Just push it through with your screwdriver and it'll come right out. Okay, then this thing will drop right down. There's a wire here that fits in this clip there, and just pull that out. It drops down. No big deal. What you see in here is this. Next is this rotating cover. This is what you have to work around to get the motor itself out. Okay, the motor here, that's the top of it, and you saw the 3. Here's the back of it here. It goes in like this, okay, upward in there. When I turn it over, you can see the 3 screw locations. And those aren't so bad. Once you get this cover off, you know, you got a lot more room to play with, because that blower motor fits inside there. And so although it's up there, you know, you got a lot of room to play with. So that's not really a problem. But getting the blower motor out and back in with this thing up here like this, it doesn't come out. You can see there just isn't a whole lot of room to play with. It'll come out, but it's going to be a little fun. So the biggest part that I'm finding, and I'm not even done with this yet, is putting this cover back on. Okay, with this piece properly in place. This is what rotates back and forth when you want your air recirculated. Okay, and you see this piece here, you can see the shape of it. It fits inside here, and it looks like a Torx fitting in there. And when you play with your settings on your heater, you can actually see this rotating back and forth. It's slow and quiet. It's actually, no noise. And I already tried this by reconnecting the battery, and I was very careful. It was just for a few moments. Reconnecting the battery and reconnecting this connector, okay, with the new blower motor in place already. So, and I saw that, okay, and I saw that when this is in the complete clockwise position, that's the same as when this cover is moved that direction. There's a stop up against there. You can hardly maybe see it a little bit. It's right here. Okay, but it's not a big deal when you're actually working it. So I know that I've got to connect that, put that cover in place while this piece is moved in this completely clockwise position. This is the problem as far as I'm concerned. It's going to happen. It's going to take me a little time. It's one of those things where, you try it 50 times and all of a sudden it works. So I haven't completely finished it yet, but I'm going to. And then I'll just put all the insulation back and have to stuff it up there, carpet back in place, put these covers back on, and that's the job. I didn't talk about removing the glove compartment. As you can see, that's a big part of this access here. Glove compartment, when you open it up, it has these pieces here. It's kind of shaped like the socket wrench here. You just easily press it in on each side and it drops back down, and you see these 3 clips here. Those are pretty straightforward, so I'm not really going to go through that. That's all. Hope your job is easy. Thank you. Take care.